Being a single mom and doing it all by yourself is brutal. Learn the brain and energy tools to get back to your center and overcome your challenges. Welcome to Single Moms Doing It All, the podcast to help you have more harmonious relationships with your teenagers and really anybody you choose in your life. I am your host, Muriel Felous, and today is a special episode because it's a bonus as part of a series that I'm launching called The Realm of All Possibilities. My guest today manifested at least one of her dreams, I know for sure, but maybe even more than one. She's a friend, a Toastmaster friend, so a personal friend of mine. And her name is Jody Kujas. And I hope I'm not butchering the name. I forgot to because she got married several years ago, but I forgot to confirm the pronunciation of her last name. So Jody is a former news anchor with NBC and ABC affiliates, most recently KVBC TV and KSNV in Las Vegas, Nevada. And she is, like I mentioned, a distinguished Toastmasters. She is now the CEO of Moxy Consulting LLC, a digital strategic brand marketing and public relations agency focused on the cybersecurity industry. So hi, Jody. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm excited that you're here with us. How are you?
Great, thank you, Muriel. I appreciate you having me on your show today. And everybody gets my last name wrong. It's Kogis, and it's a Greek name, and Kouias is how they pronounce it, I guess, in Greece. But it's a very difficult name. However, I also go by Jody Mack, which is my former name before I got married, and that is also potentially my publishing name. I'm not sure yet, but I am in the process of publishing my first book, which is a self-help book, and it's called Pretty What a Pity, and it's hopefully going to come out in October. So I'm going through the 4th iteration right now, and you may know this, but writing a book is a very difficult and arduous project, but or process, and but it's been a lot of fun, and it's a place where I was able to gather all of my thoughts and really put them forward so I could maybe help somebody in the future who might be going through some difficult times, as I did back then before I manifested my relationship and some other things, which I'm happy to share with you.
And we'll have you back when you launch the book, because that's definitely something I want to introduce to every woman.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Love that.
So before I go into questions and into the magic of manifesting, which is not really magic because there are so many aspects to it, what you were able to accomplish is really align your thoughts, actions, and energy with your dream. And I would love for you to tell us with your own words. I know that your desire to have the love of your life maybe was one of your dreams. So we can start with that. And I would love if you could tell the audience the series of events that led to you being married today with a wonderful man.
Absolutely. So back in 2015, I was in a high-paying job. This is before I started my own company, a high-paying job, high pressure. I was working for the company at the time. My direct boss was harassing me. The owner of the company was sexually harassing me. And I had to play the game. And I was at a point where I had teenagers in the house, and I had, at that time, a nice boyfriend, but prior to that, a not so great boyfriend at all, and an ex-husband who created a lot of difficulty for me. I'm sure we created difficulty, but there was difficulty. And I had gotten to a point where I just couldn't take it anymore. And I said, I remember dropping to my knees, crying in my closet, saying, I can't live like this. I can't take this. And I started a process of researching, heavy research. I needed to find answers. I looked in books, I read 20, 30, 40 books, And a culmination of everything that I learned taught me that there is a process that you can go through that will help you manifest what it is that you want to manifest. So I realized I was a victim, being treated poorly in my prior relationships. And as you know, Muriel, lots of women go through this. So we allow other people to disrespect us because we're not respecting ourselves.
Yes.
And when you don't respect yourself, you allow others to talk to you poorly or treat you poorly. And I was at a point where I had done that in my previous marriage. And it set me up for bringing in other people who were going to continue that until I learned that I had to stop being a victim. So I was in the mindset of I'm not a victim. I'm a nice person. Why is all this stuff happening to me? And it was everything. It was a horrible job. The economy was crashing. I had two boys arguing close in age. I had an ex-husband treating me poorly. And you put all this together and you say, I'm going to lose it, right? And I got off the floor in my closet and I said, okay, I got to change this, as I said. And I did all this research and I started putting this process in place to help me change what it is that I needed to change, which was basically my life. And I started by asking the universe to bring in a really great man for me that was going to help my life manifest into something different than what it was. And this process took me about 5 years. And I had acid tested it first because I got this knowledge in some other prior books. And I said, I got to acid test this. I got to figure out if it works. So I would start with asking the universe to bring me flowers. And, then all of a sudden one day somebody bought me flowers and it was, whoa, this is kind of scary, kind of weird, but okay. If it can work for flowers, maybe it can work for me. So long story short, I was at a cybersecurity conference. It was the last conference I went to for the company that I was working for that was not a great company and for me. And I was walking through the conference hall and my husband today, who I married in 2017, was walking. We were all in the same direction, kind of going in a big circle, and it was a big crowd of people. Well, he actually turned around and he faced towards my direction and the traffic was going towards him. And I asked him later, why did you turn around? He said, I just felt there was an energy behind me that I needed to just know. And he basically, I wasn't looking. I walked right on top of him, fell off my heels. My knees almost hit the concrete floor. And he pushed me back up, and I was never so embarrassed in my entire life. And I said, oh my God, I've never ran over a person before. And I ran him over. And from there, we started, I learned about his business. And over the course of 2 years, learned about his business. And I was very interested in his business and really wanted to go work for his company. And he ended up hiring me as a consultant. I started my own business and things kind of went from there.
So what I noticed in your story is that the starting point, as always, is awareness
100%.
that something's going on and surrender. Because when you really kneeled in your closet, you literally said, I can't do that. I can't continue like that. And you asked for help, even if it's not exactly what you said. That's what happened. I always talk about I compare energy to elevators, because for me, I don't really use the word attract too much. I use more like align, because
Sure.
when you vibrate at the level of I'm ready, then it's like going out on an elevator at the floor, I'm ready, and all the resources that you need will be brought to you. So what did you find that book after you realized that something had to change, or was it something you had before and you never really digged into it? How did it happen?
So when I got to that point in my closet where I just, I can't take it anymore, and God, you have to help me change my life, I started doing the research, as I mentioned. And the research from the different books, I would read different ideas from different authors about how they dealt with challenges. And I put together a culmination of, okay, if this one does this and this one does this, then maybe if I do this, and this other author was saying, try this method, if I put it all together, maybe I could expedite the process. I was that ready.
Yeah.
And what I realized is I had to learn first that I was in a state in my own mind of not understanding that I was allowing others to disrespect me. Now, I knew that that was happening, and I was adamant about not letting, my son talk to me in an ill-mannered way, or have my ex-husband treat me in such and such way. But what happened was, even though I didn't want it and I was saying, God, stop this, I don't deserve this, that wasn't changing it. I had to actually come to knowing in my head that I absolutely, unequivocally was going to allow it to happen anymore with anyone. And I became hyper sensitive to anybody who treated me with the just little bit of disrespect. Excuse me, just a little bit of disrespect. Even sarcasm bothered me, which was interesting. Yes. And I became stout. Stout, is that the word? I became very determined not to let this behavior go on with anyone. So I had to get rid of the work. I had to get rid of any outside influences where people weren't treating me the way I would treat myself. And that was being polite and kind. And kindness was the biggest thing to me. I wanted people to be kind to me because I felt I was kind.
Yeah.
And once I realized that I was not, that the victim had to stop, I had to take control of my life. And then I started asking the universe, okay, now I'm going to believe it and achieve it. And so I aligned myself with the energy needed to do that. So I brought my low vibrational energy higher. And then all the things that attract in low vibration, accidents, tickets, traffic tickets, negative people, attracting in a boyfriend or whatever that would, again, treat me not well, that all went away when my vibration level changed and I brought it up higher. And then I started attracting in better things, better job offers, better people, to the point where, again, I started my own business and I started to pull myself out of the place that I didn't want to be because of aligning.
So it's like about really identifying non-negotiable, like you're not putting up with that anymore, like setting boundaries, and that's done. I am not taking that anymore. And raising your vibration. But I suspect, because we're human beings, that you were talking about tickets earlier. Sometimes we go through periods of times where everything is great, the vibration is higher, and then something happens. And we may go back to a little bit of doubt or lower vibration. What, are you aware of any thought or any mantra, anything that helped you bounce back to that higher vibrations on days like that where things don't necessarily fall into place the way you would like them to?
Great question. Yes, as a matter of fact, part of the process was I wrote in my phone, on pieces of paper, I wrote something to the effect of God is with me, wants me to be in a better place, universe, God, energy, angel, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And I wrote this rather lengthy paragraph that basically said, thank you, God, for this wonderful life. Thank you, God, for this wonderful man. Thank you for this fabulous job. Thank you for a life of whatever. And I would read it. I put it on the dashboard of my car, and I'd read it when I was at a stoplight. I put it on the outside of my shower. So when I was taking a shower in the morning, I'd read it, and I would keep saying these things to the universe through this paragraph and thinking it before I went to bed, seeing it and saying it when I woke up in the morning. And by doing that, that was part of the believe it to achieve it.
Yeah.
Align myself with that, excuse me, allergies. Align myself with that thought and then manifest that thought. And I did that religiously. And by doing that, as I felt it from my reading, as long as I wasn't hurting anybody, wishing harm on anybody, doing anything that was negative, that I believed that this would come true. And today, I'm in a brand new house. Yeah. I have a wonderful partner, and not in that order, but I have a wonderful partner. My life is elevated. my kids are off to college. I'm in the process of publishing a book I've always wanted to publish. I have my own business. Financially, I'm not suffering, which is wonderful, because for 15, 20 years, I was walking a tightrope of paycheck to paycheck, which was very difficult as a single mom raising two boys. And I changed my life, and I changed it because of this process, which was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. And it's really, you have to cultivate that, because so many people think that you do affirmations and that's it. And it should happen almost like by magic.
Right.
There is a certain level of magic, but there is a level of creating the neural pathways in the brain to where it becomes something that is natural. Do you feel today in your life that you tend to be more positive, feeling more that you have more power on your life, that everything is really, you wake up in the morning and it's a natural feeling to you?
So what happens is, when you elevate your vibration, the things that pester your life or come into your life to cause you angst or cause you to be unhappy, or negative situations that cause you to be in some kind of pain or suffering, those things drop away from you. And then you can wake up in the morning and you're not having to stress or worry about, oh, this or that. So for me, it was like taking that 1,000 million pound elephant off of my shoulders, because I didn't have to worry about the things that I worried about when I was in a lower vibration, a lower thinking. And by doing so, when you wake up in the morning, you can be the person you've always wanted to be. You can be who you were meant to be. You can live, you can breathe, you can be at peace, and you don't have to be in that state of worry. And for me, that was the biggest thing for me, is I just wanted peace. I just wanted to not be plagued by financial stress, by people doing things that were disrespectful to me. So it brought me to a better place, obviously. And the thinking, I don't have to worry about it. What helps is, don't judge other people.
Yeah.
You don't know what situation they're in. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know why they're thinking the way they're thinking. The universe has a plan for them, hopefully. I believe that. And that they're learning. And once you learn, then you don't have to repeat that. That situation isn't going to be brought into your life and manifested in a different way for you to have to deal with. You have learned and you've moved on. And then you don't have to, you can be at a place of peace. You don't have to worry about those things anymore. So that for me is, I wake up, great energy, and I've learned not to judge other people.
Yeah, and it's like mastering a lesson. Once you've mastered it, you go to the next one.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to back up to when you started setting boundaries, because I know, based on my own experience and my clients' experience, when I teach them to set boundaries, at the beginning, I know I was very clumsy and I was quite extreme when I first started, where I didn't would tolerate anything at all. And then I went back. It's like a pendulum, I went back into the middle, and now I'm more balanced about it. Is it something that you went through also, or what was your experience with that?
So what happens in the process, that 5-year period where I think it was 2011 to 2015, 16, 2010, 2015, whatever. What happened was, you're going through this process, you're trying to raise your vibration, and something happens because you're not out of it yet. It's almost like you're 3 months into the negative karma. So if I did something, let's say I did something and I had bad thoughts or something today, I'm still not going to get out of that negative karma until about 3 months, I think, is the window. And if you constantly try to be in that good state of mind for about 3 months, you're going to start in about 3 months, you're going to start seeing everything change, because the universe is catching up to where you are. So through that 5-month period, I was doing this a little bit, because here I am saying, okay, I'd like somebody to send me flowers. and it happened maybe 4 months after. But I really had to stay in that positive state of mind. Then I really wanted a partner in life, but I wasn't ready because I had to learn to stop being a victim, and I had to learn a few things first. So the universe had to take me through that first. Meantime, I'm asking the universe every day, looking at my piece of paper, looking at my phone, reading these things. God, please, bring these things. It's not God, please bring me those things. But you're trying to manifest that, but it's thank you for these things as if it already happened. So you go through that. Boy, maybe nobody is listening to me, or maybe this isn't going to really happen. So it was you have to stay vigilant. You have to stay determined and loyal to your thoughts. And the universe says, if you believe it, you'll achieve it. And that's 100% true. 100% true. NIST attested it.
That's about keeping the faith even when you don't see the results yet, or you see the opposite of what you want to see, and knowing that it is in motion already.
Absolutely. You have to trust the process.
Yes.
It's all about trust. You have to trust that you're on the right path. And one thing I did, and I got it from the woman who came up with The Secret. She said in her next book, The Power of Love, I believe, but don't quote me on that. She said something, it was one of the books that I researched. She said, come up with a symbol that the universe can show you when you're on the right path. And mine was, there's a white-winged bird that I love seeing the bird. When he spreads his wings, he has this white strip, and they're in Las Vegas, these birds. And every time I'd be walking the dog, or I'd be out at the park or something, and I was thinking these thoughts, a white bird would come right in front of me. And I was like, okay, that's confirmation to wait. Be patient, it's coming. So have something that you can ask the universe to give you as a symbol, a sign that you are on the right path while you're being patient, because patience is a virtue, right?
Yes.
Well, you absolutely have to have patience. If you try to rush the process, the universe goes on its own time frame.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do to make the universe hurry. And ultimately what came out of this, Muriel, which is very interesting, is I learned that I can't control everything. I learned that I had to let go. I learned that get out of the way of the universe trying to help you. Looking back, I got in the way. I probably could have had a wonderful life. I probably could have got rid of the things that were happening to me, 10 years prior, but I didn't realize that I was so struggling to control and make it go my way, the way I thought it was supposed to be, that I was actually getting in the way of the universe actually helping me. Sometimes you got to let it go, and you got to let things happen and not stop them, because they're happening for a reason, because I believe things happen for a reason.
And that's funny, because I always tell my moms, we're talking about teenagers, and teenagers who act in very self-destructive ways sometimes, and the fear that we have and the need to control everything. That's something I had to learn to let go, do what I can, and trust that the same guidance that is guiding me, the same infinite intelligence, is guiding them too. And I cannot prevent anything that was decided that I would go through in this life or needs to happen. I cannot prevent that. So that's really in all areas of life. So now today you have a wonderful life. Do you still continue that practice of maintaining the faith, maintaining the positive connection? What helps you do that?
Okay, so 100%, yes, I still do it today. And I'll give you an example. On my calendar, on my phone, I have this right here. You can't really read it. I'll come a little closer, but it basically is my mantra of things that I want to manifest now and going forward. And every day I say this, and every opportunity when have a little downtime, I'll look at that, but I have it written on my calendar in my phone once a day. So it pops up once a day with an alert, forces me to read it, because I'm at a point where I'm not so desperate to have things manifest. I can let the universe do it in its time. So I don't have to be reading it at stoplights, thinking about it before I go to bed, thinking about it in the morning. I know what's coming because I'm already at the point where I know about believe it, achieve it.
And you trust.
But you can think you're believing something, but really, if you have one iota of self-doubt on what you want, it won't manifest. Very interesting process.
Yes, it is. But you can also ask for help with that. And
Yes.
that's your starting point. Help me trust. And then you can go forward. That's what magnificent, because we have help for anything we want if we decide.
I would only give one caveat, and that would be with what you're asking for, be specific. And I'll give you a very small, funny little story. After my husband and I got married, I shared with him my mantra. And in it, it would say things like, thank you for bringing the most wonderful man in the world who I'm attracted to, who's handsome, who likes to dance, who likes to cook, who likes to blah, blah, blah. He'll make a joke and he'll say, well, you know what? You forgot a few things on that list. My husband isn't great with fashion and putting clothes together. And so sometimes he'll put something on and I'll look at him and I'll go, you are not wearing that out. And he's like, see, you should have put that on your list, honey. You forgot that one. So be very careful what you put on your list. You want to be as specific as possible. And truly, everything on that list, I read it to him. I said, this is everything I asked for, and you are everything on that list. And he was. And it's unbelievable how it works. I guess if we all knew about this when we were kids, our lives would be super incredible right now, right? We would be asking for the right husband, asking for the wonderful children, asking for, everybody wants something different. And that's the beauty of the world. We all want something different.
Yes.
I don't want exactly what you want. So it's like the universe is so expansive, it can give everything to everybody. And I truly believe that. So you have to ask specifically for what you want. And be careful, because if you ask for things that you think you want, it'll come to you and you'll be like, maybe I shouldn't ask for that. So you got to be careful what you ask for.
I always add this or something that's this or what is in my highest good, because sometimes our brain is that small compared to the universe, and the universe knows way better how to make us happy.
Absolutely. That's good. Or ask for or what is in my best interest or my higher good. Yes, I agree.
So my question, the question I ask every guest, because self-love is the pillar, one of the pillars of my coaching and how I work with people. A lot of people, and women especially, haven't been taught what it means to love yourself. They haven't a clue where to start, what it means to them. So I love asking my guests for her definition of self-love. What is yours?
That's a very easy question for me, because it's what I struggled with for a very long time. Self-love to me is not allowing anyone to disrespect you. Mostly yourself. You can't allow yourself to talk down to yourself. You can't allow yourself to not give yourself the love, the kindness, the courtesy that you deserve. So you have to talk nice to yourself inside, and you can't then allow others to talk or treat you disrespectfully. So self-love to me is not allowing others to disrespect me, which provides that protection of loving myself. That to me is self-love.
That's great. So do you have any specific practice that you do on a regular basis to respect and honor who you are?
Before I go to bed at night, I always tell myself, thank you for doing the best you can do today, the best you know how to, excuse me, the best you know how to do. Thank you for being kind, and try not to judge that person, or try not, you find sometimes that you want, you think, what was that person thinking when they're, pulling their leash on their dog and yanking their dog backward and practically choking on you. Is that person an idiot? I mean, you go, and then I say, you know what? Hopefully that person will learn how to love that dog a little bit better.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the universe will teach that person that what they're doing is not the right thing. So for me, I simply thank myself.
That's a great
attitude of gratitude.
That's a great way. It brings us so high in vibration.
Not easy to do.
Yeah, sometimes not. Sometimes very easy, sometimes not.
Yeah.
Especially when it's about being grateful about challenges or stuff that we didn't really want.
Right.
But we can get there. We can get there.
It's a process, and everybody can get there. And that's the hope, I believe, of the universe. That's why we're all here. We're in the earth school to learn, right?
Yes.
So if you learn, you don't have to repeat those lessons. It gets you to a higher level, a more loving level, and it brings your vibration higher, so better things happen to you.
And we meet nicer and nicer people, like the way
yes.
I met you.
It's almost like school. It's an education.
Yeah.
Your ignorance falls away from you when you learn that it's your thinking that is, and the choices that you're making that is causing your life to be what it is. And once you learn, okay, I need to change my thinking, your life becomes what you think.
Yeah, it's literally our crystal ball. If we don't change our thoughts, we will have the same future or something that resembles that.
That's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again. You expect different results. It's not going to happen.
I want to thank you, Jody, for being here today with us. I just wanted to inspire women. So when they see stories like yours, that is a real life story where anything is possible if you really apply yourself to it, if you develop the faith and align yourself at every level with it, anything is possible. So thank you again for being here today.
Thank you. And thank you for trying to help women who are struggling. I was one of them, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate reaching out to your audience and being able to share a little bit of what I went through to give them hope and encouragement.
So for our audience, Jody will be back with us when she will be done with her book and launching it. And until I see you again, go and love yourself and set boundaries. They're crucial for you to be fulfilled and happy in life. I'll see you next week with another episode. Mwah. Being a single mom can be challenging, but you don't have to face it alone. Join our community at facebook.com/groups/single and doing it all, and receive tools, tips, and free group coaching. And if you like this podcast, please review and rate us on iTunes. I would really appreciate it.